qualifiers for the World Club Gold, or the Gold Club World Championship, hardest tournament name to say ever, in that wild card. But that was the last we really saw of Tempest until this season. Their opponents here, two members, as I just said, Honkato and Dami, former members of Tempest. And you've got, of course, Sniper, Crazy Moving, and Darvish to round out the rosters. We talked about how Honkato and Dami, on paper, how powerful of a duo could this be? It feels like we're looking at something we saw last summer, just on paper, right? But in terms of results, we were wondering, is this going to be a liability for Miracle? And Honkato has definitely tightened it up. And as far as Dami goes, this is not really a meta where we see a lot of bruiser play. So he's a little bit out of his element, you have to say.
Yeah, especially the melee bruiser. Like he was so good on Thrall, Zero Tool, but we do see him sometimes. But on this patch, Thrall is nerfed. The Earthquake is nerfed, of course, and Thundering did get a slight buff. But Thrall right now in the meta is somewhat in a weird place, so to say. So for Dami to pick up on Ragnaros, that will be the key during the draft. And MVP Miracle, they had some funky draft and funky plays within the game last week. They did not have the best first week, so to say. Very beginning opening day, they lost against Mighty 3-2. It was very rough compared to how people expected. They're having a hard time in HGC Korea so far.
Absolutely, G-Clef. Just taking a look at our map bans, something out of the ordinary. New StarCraft maps, fairly new StarCraft maps anyways. Braxis and Warhead Junction are banned here. It's been pretty common. Tempest banning Braxis, Miracle banning Warhead. And our first map pick will actually go to Miracle here, as Tempest will actually choose first ban as we go into Dragonshire. Here we go, G-Clef. All right, day 1 of week 2.
This is, again, to say this is the live patch and the live server. We'll probably see the similar draft, but we will likely to see Sonya in there somewhere, depending on the battleground they choose to focus on.
Sure.
Still, it is very global heavy, especially in Korean region.
With the Falstad ban here already from Tempest, the Falstad's not reworked on this patch, but anyways, they're prioritizing removing him, which will give them either Tassadar potentially here or Ragnaros. They could even go down the Malfurion path. So this is why first ban is so strong. And I think I said the team names backwards earlier. This is, of course, the map pick of Miracle. Tempest taking first ban here. But either way, it's going to be a Zeratul ban. And that's an interesting one. We have seen some Modern Life Zeratul variant jumping up into the first pick slot here, though. Tassadar, remember, we talked about how we might not see him as much. We're definitely going to see him in the iteration he was for basically the entirety of his lifespan in Heroes of the Storm anymore, as he's been reworked. We'll see if teams want to use him. I don't think he's going to go as highly prioritized as he was before. But I think that he will work with certain compositions, especially slow-oriented compositions.
Yeah, I certainly agree on what you just said. And also, because of that, Vala also went down a little bit because Tassadar he's still viable, very strong to play. But for the defensive, the shields, the change in that mechanics, it's making a huge difference in their play. And Vala, I don't think Vala is as safe as before, so to say.
Definitely not, and definitely isn't going to be as empowered. So, Crazy Moving, one of his best heroes, one he'd like to pick up here was absolutely the Vala. He could do so regardless of the Tassadar changes and pair it with Ariel. Still available here, a very strong and solid lineup. It's going to be Malfurion instead. Still going to prioritize that Vala as we go into the second phase here for Tempest. Falstad is removed, and that's a little bit frustrating in terms of globals for both teams, as he is absolutely the best, which means we're going to be looking towards, on this map especially, probably a Dahaka pickup either in this rotation or Miracle may ban it. We're going to see Zarius, and she's left available to your Taken, and it was going to be a toss-up between the Tychus and the Liming. They're going for that auto-attack damage here first.
And I saw Doctor practicing super hard on Zarya in all the Hero League, and looks like they're gonna change up a bit, gonna switch up from the old style of having Tyrael. Maybe Tyrael can still come in at the last, but still they're gonna switch up a little bit. No more Tyrael and no more melee assassins, but having strong lineups, Varian and Zarya of Shield and Tychus, of course, limiting the heavy tank front line for the other team, MVP Miracle. Like having Muradin is super hard against the Tychus, and they're just gonna ban out Ragnaros because Tempest they already have such a strong lineup at the front.
This is the Tastar ban. I was wondering if that was going to come in here. Tastar kind of more of a support in terms of his role rather than a healer in this current patch. So, as you said, kind of not as powerful as before in terms of just raw usableness, but his shields are stronger. They have a longer cooldown as well, so they're really blocking certain bursts there. The Ragnaros ban I find to be interesting because he's very powerful, but if Tempest were to pick up Ragnaros here, it would just be Glass Cannon Tychus, which feels a little bit weak as I hadn't actually picked up a healer yet, but that's interesting to see, and Miracle still just wants to remove it. Now they have to choose one of their tanks here. I'd say ETC is the go-to. So powerful, even on this map. He was a global as well. The other hero to consider is, of course, putting Dami on that Dahaka, who's still available. So you're really looking at those globals, and it's going to be the Dahaka first, and they're actually going to get a second damage here in Gul'dan.
And they're trying to hide something here because they also have Vala and just Malfurion. And Malfurion does have so good of a sustain, but to keep Vala alive, she needs burst heal. She can't just have sustain. She's gonna blow up before anything happens. And there's the last pickup of Thrall and Karazim from Tempest, and Hyde, of course, the god, as we saw from the highlight. Divine Palm just landing on the right time, exact all the time.
He's incredible.
I'd say this draft is going towards Tempest at the moment.
I would have to agree with that sentiment. My one concern is the lack of globals, and Miracle has Dahaka now, and they absolutely could pick up ETC to have two globals here. They'll have a lot of early game pressure as well. Dahaka can do so much in lane and also can roam around to try to go for those tongue pulls. And the fact that ETC is just a super strong roamer in early game is going to be the best pickup here that they've got. And in terms of the Thrall pickup, that's another thing that could be very hit or miss here because they do have the double support. It is going to be that Palm Karazim, and they've got Zarya shield, so it can work out really well here for Tempest. But remember, as you talked about earlier, Thrall is slightly nerfed in this patch, so we'll see if his Earthquake is what they go for as we go into game number one. Guys, tell your friends the rivalry between these two teams is long-standing. Tempest versus MVP Miracle here at week 2 of HGC Korea. I'm Wolf. With me is G-Clef. Let's get into game number 1 on Dragonshire. In blue, Team Tempest, Hyde on Karazim, Duck Duck on Zarya, Lockdown on Tychus, Sign on Varian, and Modern Life on Thrall.
And their opponent in red, MVP Miracle, Honkona on ETC, Dami on Dahaka, Sniper on Gul'dan, Crazy Moving on Vala, and Darvish on Malfurion.
Here we go. And it's going to be Iron Fist Karazim with the secondary support that he will have with Zarya. This is not going to be too big of a surprise. Keep in mind as well that Thrall does have a lot of self-sustain because of his trait. Now notice this blocking here, you see Sign do this against the minions. That's because ETC, especially in conjunction with Dahaka, is such a strong combination in the early game that any minion wave push you can deny to be safe under your turrets is going to be very helpful.
And as you can see, Tempest is slowly creating the wave clear, but so safely. Like they're so far behind, so they don't want to get ganked from the beginning of the game.
Ooh,
it looks like Dami will get slow, but not enough damage, I believe. Yes, and Sniper comes along with Crazy Moving, because going all the way in. And it looks like Sign is caught for the moment.
Yeah, he definitely overextended here. Will not pay for it with his life in this case, as it looks like Honkona was unable to get the stun there. The big trade-off here, though, is that Tempest gets a strong bot push. And this is something we're going to see more and more with Zarya compositions. We talked about it last week. Want to talk about it again. If you leave a Zarya in lane like this to just sit in front of the turrets, build up energy, and do damage, it's going to be very powerful at killing those structures early on to give you that first level lead, which does, it actually matters a lot. It's about a 4% scaling difference between these two teams. Now, I want to talk about Sniper really quick here because he's been very criticized in the past for his weak hero pools and only being good at really a few heroes, mainly Falstad and Tastar. But we saw in China, he's actually quite a good Gul'dan. So showing his hero pool again here, somewhat limited but branching out to this Gul'dan once more. So I think he's going to be one of the key players here for Miracle going this first map.
And by the way, off topic, Hyde on that cloud looks perfectly synced.
Yeah.
If you do not have that cloud, please go buy it because it's one of the best mounts. I personally love it so much.
It's one of the coolest mounts. I feel like Goku when I use it. See Sign get caught here actually again, and he will be taken out completely this time by his former sister teammates as Dami rotates up here to deny the channel. Having globals again so important, especially on larger maps like this one.
That's also the thing. Both of the teams, they know each other so well. It's basically like MVP Miracle versus Black. Like they scrimmed, like they even had members switch. They knew them before for basically all year last year. And if they know their playstyle, they can use that to gank or use that for their advantage during the team fight and so on.
All right, Sign's going to come in here, get the charge off, try to stun out Crazy moving, but there's just not enough follow-up here. We do see the rotation up from Lockdown, but he's unable to get the displacement he's looking for with his grenade to isolate a target. Not going to work out here. And again, because of the early ETC here presence that he has, Honkono is going to make trying to gank, trying to be aggressive, a bad choice most of the time. It's very risky to actually commit to these sorts of engagements as Modern Life is pushed out here in lane. We do see the kill, though, does go down to Vala. We missed how that happened, so I imagine Honkono is probably on cooldown. Now he's not, though. He's going to make this a 1-for-1. Or will he? Lockdown does get shielded, and that's another kill there onto Sniper. Can Lockdown get away? He very well may. Sign gets the slow, and it's a triple here for Tempest.
Insane plays coming out from Tempest, and Hyde also managing to pick up that kill right before one of Miracle members managed to get out on the wall. This insane play from the beginning of the game. That was perfectly done by Tempest.
Can they parry this into a Dragon Knight? They should be able to with this current position and the lane push. Duck will channel here. They have the level 7 advantage now. And I can't help but imagine that even though we didn't see it, Honkono used his power slide incorrectly and aggressively there, which meant that he couldn't peel. And props, though, to Lockdown. Like, surviving that, using that grenade so well was really impressive. Either way, we'll never know the full story of what happened there as this mid wall does get taken out. Sniper going to heal up here. Sniper also went for Echoed Corruption, something that we have to really talk about at least once in the game because that's a quest that just becomes more and more powerful as the game goes on.
I think Crazy Moving got caught from the variant and just having not having enough burst heal or shield. I think that makes Vala just so weak right now in this, especially with this kind of draft. And Tempest really using the hands. Looks like someone's having fun up there.
Yeah.
Tempest really just outclassing MVP Miracle at the moment.
Yeah, it's just it shouldn't be happening this way. It was starting out the better way for Miracle because Honkono's presence here is just so difficult to deal with, especially, like I said, paired with the Dahaka pick starting from level 1. Now they're just trying to out-soak using that Dahaka presence in the top lane here, but shouldn't have lost so many kills earlier. And another one here on the Sniper, and Hyde is a madman. He's actually crazy. Lockdown looks to survive once more as he comes in and heals him, but he gets locked in and body blocked, and now Hyde is stunned, and this fight may turn on its head.
And see, the focusing on Tempest is just so amazing. All of their members just focusing at the right target, at the right moment, focusing and chasing. Right, and that was not the best use from Duck, but still, they have the lead, so they can just waste one of it.
Absolutely. It's not the longest cooldown either, so it's absolutely okay. Had he gotten the kill, he would look like a genius. Missing it here doesn't look so bad. Note again the changes, or rather not changes, but the selection. Tempest, they're hiding whether they're going to go 7-sided or Palm, and also the Odin choice, because these are big choices that you have to make at level 10. They're not going to make them until that critical moment. Like I said, I imagine it's going to be Palm, and in fact, as I say it, he does go ahead and lock that in.
And it is Sundering instead of Earthquake, as Earthquake did get nerfed, and Sundering got a significant buff. And Tempest is the one that was famous for when once Dami started to use Brawl later on in the season. They really brought it the 120% from Thrall, using it with Tyrael and maybe with Greymane also. So Tempest, of course, having a Thrall right now, it's a big buff.
And the thing is, keep in mind, we have to put like an asterisk on this statement, because in the past, what you just described was when Dami was on Tempest, and now Dami is on the opposing side. So Dami's going to be watching that Thrall, a hero he always struggled to play on Tempest, and perhaps a little bit of envy if he does go down to it here in a few of these team fights. As you know, in the past, we saw Greymane more often than Thrall when other teams like MVP Black were running Thrall instead of the Greymane in similar compositions with Tyrael like you're describing. And Rich is one of the most terrifying Thralls, and was, as he's retired now. In terms of his positioning and the displacement that his Sunderings gave, that's something we're going to be looking here for Modern Life as well. How well does he actually position these Sunderings? It's the angle that's important. It's not about the damage it does or the kills. It's just displacing members. And that was one of the reasons why you could have perhaps made an argument for 7-side strike. If one target gets alone, you can just blow them up so quickly. But it's better to keep Thrall alive in this case with the Palm.
Yeah, Tempest does have enough damage, so picking the Palm seems like the better choice of the end. Dami keep on getting caught, but this is going to be a kill for sure. Let's see how long he can last, but Dami, there goes Dami, and that's exactly how you use it in Modern Life. We saw Modern Life play on Ragnaros on Tyrael in the first week, and his Ragnaros was not the best, but his Tyrael was pretty good, and having all these playing melee heroes, and Thrall looks to be one of the ones that he feels comfortable playing it.
One of the things about a rotation like what we just saw there is that there's always trade-offs, especially when you commit to a 4-man. And in this case, because they have this global in Dahaka, you can keep him up there and rotate around and get a bot fort. So it's going to be basically a fort for a fort. And yes, Tempest has 13 first, but they don't really gain that much from those kills. And in fact, I feel like this is a big win for Miracle. They get a fort for free, essentially. Taka can rotate right back up as soon as he responds to the top lane, and they're going to get this bot camp. So MVP Miracle actually wins on terms of map objective and rotations here, and they will catch up to 13 very shortly. Tempest, because they were so committed to that top lane, didn't get anything out of that talent advantage they had.
It looks like this can be a dangerous. Crazy Moving is cleansed right, and Hyde is trying to chase, and there goes Thunder and kills off Crazy Moving from the beginning. Dami is also in trouble. There goes Dami. This is one of the things when you make rotations right before you hit 13. You have to be cautious a little bit, and Crazy Moving was actually in the front line, almost face-checking that push. This incredible play from Tempest for just being there, but still MVP Miracle was a little bit, they had to be a little bit more careful rotating up there.
Absolutely. Something else to keep in mind that we haven't really touched upon, and we talked about in the draft, but didn't really talk about in the game itself as 10 was reach for Miracle, is that it's actually going to be Honkono using Mosh Pit and not Stage Dive. So they feel that the global that Dahaka provides is going to be sufficient in terms of rotations. But Honkono could make some big power plays here, and with how far behind they are right now, I think he's going to need to. Here's a great stun lineup here. He uses the Mosh as well. Palm comes in here, but will Hyde pay for it with his life? He's silenced right now, cannot jump. He is going to pay for it with his life. 2 dead here. Good coordination by MVP Miracle. Of course, the Dragon Knight is active during this, but it's not going to get as much as Sign would have liked to with 2 dead.
Yep, that's exactly right, and MVP Miracle really pulled that off with the right CCs. Hyde could have evaded if there was not the Twilight Dream hitting on that right time, but MVP Miracle looks like that is the kind of team fight they were looking for. That exactly how they want to use it. They didn't even have to use Horrify, and Zarya getting caught right in the middle. They didn't really have a choice of surviving that.
With how that position was, Sign also just laned in the top lane with the Dragon Knight, cleared a wave, and canceled it. It's
yeah,
like
he literally couldn't do much.
Yeah.
Like, if he goes too far, MVP Miracle's probably gonna go right towards him and then get a pick on him. So I think that was the best choice he could have done.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have any escapes once the Dragon Knight actually collapses upon him. Now, 16 is reached for Tempest. Will they react to this murking here of Miracle? Looks like they realized a little bit too late, so they're not going to be able to capitalize this. They're just going to continue to push lanes. This is something that Miracle has been able to do against Tempest consistently in this game so far. Even starting from level 10, they've been down a talent tier from the beginning every time, and each time they've been able to avoid disaster. You know, not really on their own merits, but because Tempest hasn't actually punished them for these small windows, and they've just been kind of out-rotated. And part of that, again, comes back to the Dahaka pick, but it hasn't been as big of a Dahaka rotate-style game as you normally see. Now, Tempest does push this lane really heavily. That's one thing that they can do with this 16. But again, Dahaka has this top lane push. He's going to even up the talent tiers. And he could come down at any moment, as I'm sure he's got brush stock available.
Yeah, that is what we keep on talking about. The power of globals is just affecting the macro so much within the competitive games here. And just having the Dehaka and then not having the stage, maybe I think stage dive could have been an okay choice also, since Tempest actually does have so much CCs to cancel that mosh pit. But last time it worked. Is it going to work? Do you think it's going to work anymore?
Well, I mean, I think it definitely could. It just depends on the scenario. Like last time, Hong Kong used it to secure a kill, which is super rare for Mosh. And we don't even see Mosh that much in general anymore. But right before that fight happened, coincidentally, I was saying, you know, they're so far behind right now. They need a pick. They need something. Maybe that's why they decided to go for Mosh. I think it's the worst choice of the two personally, considering all the CC you just described, especially because they even have Sundering here. But it's one of these playmakers that, if used correctly, can change the entire game. You can get a team wipe off of it. It's just so rare. It's the same thing I talk about with Artanis all the time. It's like, yeah, okay, can have these amazing moments, but it's pretty rare at this level of play for that to occur. And it's usually based off of teams making mistakes. Post 20, when we have Bolt, maybe a whole different story. But right now, I think having that second global would have been nice. Not absolutely necessary, but definitely pretty effective.
Yep, exactly what I agree on that. And Tempest really just keeping the flow over the map, as Miracle is actually going to commit a little bit towards the top, and Okano just scouting what's happening in the middle. And Dehaka, of course, is always on the opposite side, trying to macro, trying to stall lanes, picking up that EXP.
Okay, this is a very hefty rotation right now up for Tempest. They actually sent all 5 up, and looks like because Miracle didn't have 100% vision of this, they're going to send theirs all down, so they kind of miss each other, pass each other in the night. We have a brief channel here for Tempest, but it is interrupted by Dami. Honkono in perfect position here. That battle between Sign and Honkono, the old iconic matchup from summer season, now back here with these two tanks as they're trying to out-vision each other. Dami goes for the blind pull, does not connect. In terms of positioning here, this is a better zone control by Miracle because they're closer to these objectives, these mercenary camps. And Tempest will have to rotate back in, but Miracle's kind of ahead of them by just one step. They could have tried to invade here. We're going to split back off in the lanes because they know they're behind in EXP. They want to get 21st. That's what they're going to prioritize here instead of these Siege Giant camps that may just not do anything at all. And Miracle's already got that lane pushed, so a little bit risky to try to commit any further.
Yeah, so for the timing, if you actually want to have a fight here, think about when Tempest hits 19 and the macro is about the same. The rotations are about the same for both teams, and if MVP Miracle really wants to go heavy on this even talent, even level, but slightly ahead, Tempest before hitting 20, that should be the timing of when you should start the team fight. But it looks like Tempest is actually going to go in all the way.
All right, there's the instant blow up there onto Malfurion. Sniper is in trouble here as well. Looks like he may just narrowly escape here. Nope, doesn't look like it at the end of all things. And this was a blow up, but a quick rotation down by Tempest before the brush stock could come in, before Dami could actually join the fight. They get 2 kills as a result, and now they're going to push down this keep wall, which will give them 20. Not to mention that Duck Duck has full energy, and they have these Siege Giants, so this push is super easily done. And look, he's just going to go ahead and absorb more turret shots to make sure he has full energy. And they're going to pressure the keep health because they have 20, and Miracle's down 2 members.
Yep, they're still 15 seconds on Malfurion still, and Tempest really had the rotations right. Miracle, they were a little off. They went a little too far, knowing that Tempest, they didn't see the entire Tempest team on the map. And that was a little disappointing there.
All right, Honkono has to go ahead and power slide away. It looks like Tempest is going to back off here and try to go for the mid-keep wall. They do need to try to get some sort of objective out of this huge talent tier advantage. They haven't really been doing too much of that this game. They've kind of been playing a little bit passively while ahead. This time they're just pushing this mid lane a little bit aggressively. They don't have a global. Had they had a global, they could send someone to the top shrine right now to ensure a Dragon Knight. It's just so difficult for them to do that right now because they're being out-rotated. And are they just going to simply walk back and take their mercs? Feels like they could have done so much more.
I think they're also being super cautious because Miracle is away from 20 still, but they were out macroed a little bit, and still having a Dehaka is a lot of pressure in the global way. So they're gonna send a Thrall, but not really trying to take the Dragon Knight right now.
It's just so scary when you let this happen because when you have a global like Dahako who can soak so easily, they're going to get 20 even faster than a normal team composition would without globals. So they need to get a pick here again. They want to fight now with 20. This is their moment. They're not going to actually be able to get a pick on the Dami, but he is slowed here. He's actually caught now. Perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe they will grab him here. They're going in as far as they can. Good Sundering here. Hits 4, but unfortunately doesn't isolate anybody. Dami does get killed here. The Horrify much too late. And they could actually try to push for the win here now. 20-19. Still no 20 for Miracle. But they're going to take the passive route once more. But this time, perhaps, they get the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, Dragon Knight at 17 minutes, you can actually just go for the core and then just hit that core. Just hit nothing else but the core, you can actually win. Just like that, and MVP Miracle with the Haka down, they're missing the front line. And as we talked about ETC, picking that Mosh, if you take a closer look on ETC, he's trying to go in and come back. He can't decide at the moment, do I power slide in here and try to make the big move, but there's so many CCs, they didn't use anything. And Thundering, great Thundering to isolate the 4 out of the Dehaka right there. That was almost perfect use of Thundering.
Absolutely. The thing is, the Sundering it hit 4 and stunned 4. It didn't knock Dami closer, but I suppose the opposite effect was almost enough because it knocked everyone further away from Dami. So they were still able to get the slows onto him and get the kill. I was talking about how the Mosh Pit might become a game changer post-20 because of the Bolt. Honkono has that now, and they're going to have to take one defensive engagement here. Losing any members right now will absolutely secure a win for Tempest, so they have to be cautious, but they need to make a play. Honkono needs to be ready to bolt in, and Tempest needs to be split. This is not the only way they can make this happen. They have Horrify as well, upgraded here at 20, but they're going to make a stand right now because, as you can see, Modern Life is just trashing on everything he hits here. Dami comes in from behind. Honkono's looking for that position right now. I think he's going to have to bolt if he wants it to happen, though.
And Honkono power slides and finds no one in there, just bolts out from the fight. Actually, it is Varian that's going to go down first, but there's so many heroics used from Miracle's side. Modern Life on that Dragon Knight, I think that's making a huge difference in Tempest's side. That's sometimes having a Dragon Knight on the other team, that also becomes a chance for the defending team because they can't use any skills other than the Dragon Knight skills.
Absolutely. We talk about this a lot, and we saw actually Modern Life hesitating as to whether he was going to trade the Dragon Knight or give it to Duck Duck. They decided to give it to Modern Life regardless there. There was some hesitation. Bolt and the Mosh Pit both totally wasted there, totally whiffed, and this is an issue, but they were able to, with the Horrify, stay alive. And now they're going to invade this. I like this. This is what you need to be doing when you're behind like this, is try taking a gauge, although Honkono gets blown up instantly, and now they're not going to be able to fight. Dami gets killed before he can heal. Duck Duck is palmed here. The palm is ignored, but it doesn't matter because he survives here. Beautiful shield on himself. Absorbs that multi-shot here from Crazy Moving. And Crazy Moving just barely gets the mount off, but Hyde, he's going to have another dash here in a second. Darvis doing what he can to slow him down. But now 3 dead. It looks like Tempest may just simply march towards the core. They are grouped up here in bot. There's no catapult minions, though, so it's going to take them a little bit longer. They're not going to commit to it just yet. Looks like they want to bring the Mercs and that wave of catapults as Sign is coming back. They're going to do this as a group of 5. And if Crazy Moving dies, this is certainly over. It may be over regardless here, G-Club. This is just so much pushing power.
Yes. And the camp is coming all along the way with the minions, and there's a laser drill placed. And there goes Crazy Moving Darvish, the last one ice blocks to just stall time at the end, but that's going to be it. 5-member all that core going so fast. It is going to be game number 1 going to Tempest regardless of what happens now.
There you have it. They do take it. Slow and steady wins the race in this case. I was talking about how Miracle really was able to equalize a lot of the talent tier deficiencies they had, just simply because Tempest played so passively in moments when they were, say, 10-9, 13-12, later on 20-18. But that last engage there, when Honkono got blown up so quickly because Tempest was able to react to that invade, I liked the idea because this is the kind of move where if you get a pick, then you could turn the game around. You could get a keep, you can neutralize that bot lane, the catapult's pushing there. Unfortunately, though, because he was picked off so immediately, that didn't happen, and it ended up losing the game as a result as Dami couldn't escape. But I have to worry for Tempest. They won this game off of their early lead.
Yep.
They did play very safely, but they didn't prioritize globals, and also they did not capitalize on their talent tier advantages as well as they could have. That passivity on other maps especially can really come back to bite you. So especially like on a map like Cursed Hollow going forward, I don't know, we don't know our second map yet, but it's very likely to be Cursed Hollow based on what we've seen in this tournament so far. I'm worried.
It is always first picked or later in the match somewhere, especially in Korea. And basically, it was more exactly as what you just said. It does not feel like Tempest is using this draft 100%. It feels like it doesn't actually fit their style. And Modern Life playing on